Welcome back to Coach Brian here with Driven for Health, and I'm excited to bring a story to you. This is Chris. He's a tech exec. He is time bound, schedule tight guy. He lives in Ohio. His wife, kids, and just doing his thing, right? Just works, takes care of his family. He stays in shape too, but he started to the middle age creep around the waistline, and you realize, hey, I don't really want to carry this out when I'm 50 and 60. Just want to live a happy, healthy lifestyle, take my shirt off, feel comfortable, and things like that. So we're going to introduce Chris here and jump into it. Chris, what were some of the biggest accomplishments that we've done here in the last 100 days in
Hey,
the Call
Brian.
to Rise program?
Thank you for having me, Brian. And when you think about accomplishments, it's easy to go to the scale, it's easy to go to the numbers, it's easy to go to the measurable results. I'll start there, just for your audience and those that are listening. I did lose 20 pounds in 100 days, which I'm proud of.
That's the
Um,
goal.
it was so kind of as advertised. That's been your moniker. I was able to get
Yep.
there, and it wasn't one of those things that I was constantly stepping on the scale and looking for, the daily
Right, right,
loss
right.
or
What was, oh,
like
I'm down point 0.3, I'm down point 0.6, right?
exactly.
Every, yeah.
So I was able to get the 20, and more importantly, I felt like the 20 came from the right place. Like, and we've talked about this, but I've had to rejigger some of my belts because I've gotten to the last hole, and those are no longer sufficient to keep the pants up.
Yeah.
So that was more of a road hack, which we could talk a little bit more about. But I would
Oh,
say
yeah.
the weight loss, and then the obviously it coming around the middle, and as you promote quite frequently, is the fat loss. So that
Right.
component did work pretty well. And then I would say the last thing, accomplishment wise, one of the things I was looking to get out of this were repeatable habits
Yes.
and having just consistency, which the pillars of this program help allow for that.
Yeah, definitely. You and another gentleman, Mike, he's episode 113 of Driven for Health podcast. He ended up losing 17 pounds and 12% body fat. And it was such a big number. And that's the goal, is when we're losing weight, we want to lose fat so that you maintain the muscle mass that you have, and you have some on you. We just need to peel away some of the fat that's been slowly accumulating over time. So tell me a little bit about who you are, what you got going on in your day-to-day life. I know that you travel a lot. That was a
Yeah.
big initial point that we had to talk about and set some better guidelines and rules around so that you could be successful with that.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I think probably in this facet of my life, like obviously job and your career is a big part of your identity.
Huge.
As you mentioned, I work for a tech company. And when I joined the company, I was, I think, around employee 150. And we've
Okay.
since grown to around 1,500 employees. And so
Okay.
largely my existence at this company has been part of the build team as we're trying to go to market, and we're trying to acquire new customers and all the things that come from being in a startup
Right.
role.
Right.
That's largely what I've been doing over the last 5 years. And so um, that's a bit about me. I've been married to my wife, Jamie, for gosh, it'll be 27 years in November.
That's awesome. That is
And
awesome.
our oldest son just graduated from
Yeah.
university, to be unnamed. And we also have two others that are one's in college and another one's in high school.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. So you're literally in the thick of life right now with
we are
all
in
the
the thick of
things
life.
to
Yes.
juggle. The schedule is real, and there's constant responsibilities any which way you
Aging
look,
parent
and people.
too, to go on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We're in the aging parent demographic, so
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
high touch involved with your parents, and
right,
depending on what their circumstances are in life, that could be a
right.
pretty big lift as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 40 to
yeah,
60 is a grind time, and you end up, your personal identity falls to the backside because of the constant need for attention from all these other areas. And that's, I'm feeling it more so now than ever in my 40s. Now I'm 43. Now, what were some of the results, speaking of beyond just the physical weight, but what were the, say, the travel, the day-to-day habits, the
Yeah.
repetitive, not repetitive in a bad way, because I didn't tell you to eat the same things on a day-to-day basis, but the repetitive sequences of how you decided to the foods that you ate, the portions you chose, all that
Yeah.
type of stuff.
Well, so Brian, I know there's a lot of the clients that you work with, they go cannonball straight into the food. You're a peddler of vegetables. There's no secret to that.
Right.
And it's for cause, like they're good for you and they're
Yep.
um and they're healthy and you don't consume the number of calories that you would, but you're full. So
Hmm.
it's a playbook that works, but it's one that again, I'm not a huge vegetable guy. There's some that I do like and that I'll routinely eat.
Right.
But what I had to do is was look at certain meals in certain parts of the day when you want to enjoy your meal and your food, and it's one of those
Uh-huh.
things that for me it was um, kind of decoupling that in a few different meals of the day. Breakfast, I don't need to have some leisurely enjoyment type of meal. I mean, you could still
Right.
enjoy the
Wake up
foods.
and have a cup of coffee and
Yeah,
sit out and eat something, right? Don't
exactly.
need that.
So what worked for me was taking specific meals throughout the day. Like normally for me, if I'm not on the road, it would have been breakfast and lunch, and just having repeatable, the
Right.
same things over and over again. And it's it's also to where, yeah, you can mix in a little bit of variety, but for me, it was more or less of I need to eat lunch. Let me get through it, and let me get back to my
Right.
day.
Right.
And
And for that extending there, it's decision fatigue. It's for you, it's one less decision and choice. We
it
already
really,
said this is a good combination of food that's going to move us toward our goals. Okay,
yes,
rinse and repeat. Okay, I'll worry about the more challenging client meals. The
right,
let's squeeze in a dinner date with the wife, or oh, the kids are gonna they want pizza tonight. How do I finagle that? So we can have some, say, home based meals that are
yeah.
keep you on track, and you can worry about the other things later.
And not only that, Brian, but like one of the things you brought up too, in just our not only our one-on-ones, our group calls, and then I've heard you talk about this on different podcasts, is like what's your playbook when things don't necessarily go in a predictable fashion, right? And for me, that was being on the road. And what I liked about just being at home when I don't travel and these repeatable meals is I find myself using those to get into a deficit while
Yep.
also trying to hit my protein and macro targets as well. So it's one of those things that I'm not looking to say, okay, if I'm on an 1800 calorie diet for the day, I need 600 at breakfast, I need 600 at lunch, I need
Right.
600 at dinner. I'm going like 300 at breakfast, maybe 250.
Right.
And, getting enough to start my day knowing that, come bedtime, I'm going to have my numbers in order.
Right. You still accomplish the goal at the end of the day. And ultimately, we just do basic math over here. It's just, okay, these are the number that we need, and we'll just do addition all day long to get to those goals. A lot of programs will try and confuse the nutrition process, and all of a sudden you're trying trigonometry, some weird stuff of,
Right.
oh, I don't eat a whole food group, or at this time frame in 4 weeks, we're going to do this. And then in another 8 weeks after, we're doing this other protocol. And that's definitely not it. We need a repeatable, simple, and enjoyable process that you can do day in and day out. And
Well, and
you
that's
also good.
well, and I was just going to say, and I know we're going to talk about this coming up, but like just the rigidity of certain programs when you
Right.
maybe don't comply with some aspect of it, or you slip over here, and then you feel like you're a
Mhm.
total failure. What I like about the
Right.
framework here is that it's intended for the long game, and
Right.
it buffers in life.
Yeah, very much so. I live what I preach, as you know now. Right? My day is super busy. It's constantly flipping upside down on me. I ended up booking 2 more phone calls today than I intended at the beginning of the day. So that changes what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to operate and when I eat and all these things. But we have to be
Sure,
lean, agile in it, and have this adaptability built into it. So the BF, the moderation, balance, flexibility type approach that can bend with you so that you are flexible and we still stay on track. It's so
That's
many
it.
people. It's I failed and I made a bad choice. I'm going to start again on Monday. Well, today is Tuesday, so I guess you've got 6 day runway to start over.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Oh,
it's also too like the idea of starting and starting something new and
right.
being quote unquote in, and you're part of now a committed program. What I like about this program too is it doesn't feel like I'm in a program sometimes.
Right.
And
Which is
what I
by
mean by that,
design.
it's where the habits that form and the things that you do just kind of take over second nature, and you don't feel like you're even in a program and you're still getting results.
Right.
Um, which I mean, I don't know who's going to listen to this that might trigger you know a response of any kind, but it's for
Right.
me. I think you hit it on the head. I deal with a bunch of decisions all day long, and there's certain things where I just get tapped out, and I want to behave in the realm of that of the playbook and
Right.
the the program that's been created, without feeling like, hey, I'm constantly just dialed in and I have to be hyper aware of every mistake I make, or even if I'm deficient, or if I haven't had enough water by a certain part of the day. um, what I want to feel like is that over the long term, these things all normalize and the results will
Right.
stack.
Right. The long-term biasy approach principle that I have is what we do in 2 weeks, we do in 2 months, we do in 2 years, so on and so forth. From the very get-go, I'm trying to collaborate with you. What is the day-to-day lifestyle approach that you can manage and maintain while getting results? And hey, cool thing is we're down 20. And when you get to the actual goal of where you want to be at, then we just start to eat just a little bit more food, or maybe have a little bit more fun, or maybe not walk so much with intention like you were, and you can maintain your weight and it not be any different than what we had been building and stacking for weeks on
Right.
end,
No,
which
I
is
totally agree.
important. Let's go to the travel, because a lot of guys listening in
Yeah.
are time tight. They're constantly moving. I can't tell you how many clients I have. So, Bob, what city are you in today? To give me some frame of reference and
Yeah.
help coach you here.
Yeah. So the travel is interesting because for me, it involves not only the trip itself, but oftentimes a dinner, or a
Right.
social
Oh,
event
definitely.
with customers, clients, or colleagues. And so there's a few things that I try to do right off the rip. Um, I avoid extra overnights, number one. So if I need to leave on the first flight out, I do that, just unrelated to this program. That
Yeah.
generally there's the fewest things that have happened during the day. Um, is why I leave. I try to choose the early flight because the
Oh, yeah,
crew's going to
yeah.
be there, the
They'll
plane's
be
there.
on time
Yeah,
and as much as
exactly.
possible, yeah.
But on
Mhm.
top of that is on my outbound flight, what I've been doing is I'll load up like a good protein shake before I leave. So
Yep.
I'm full. I don't have any desire to stop and get anything at the airport. I can kind of go on my way, get a coffee, and then I'm off to my destination. Land somewhere, and then get a light lunch of some kind. So the first, those first two meals, like on the travel day, protein shake, light lunch, probably a salad with, chicken or some protein, or something to that effect. And I'll carry some David bars with me, or
Right.
protein bars to be unnamed. Um, I'll carry with me just as extra
Just
snacks or whatever
easy,
else. Yeah,
convenient,
easy,
on the go.
convenient. One of your other podcasts, you were chatting with a guy. Just pack a sandwich. If
Yeah.
you want to load it up, I've done that before.
Yeah.
So for those that there's some great content that Brian does have, and I did learn from other testimonials and interviews that he's conducted. That was one of the hacks that I pulled out was,
Right.
just bring a sandwich with you, put it in your
Yeah.
bag,
Pack a
and
sandwich,
it's
some
easy.
baby carrots and an apple, and that'll hold you over for 3 or 4 hours,
That's
long
it.
enough, and it'll save calories for whatever dinner's gonna be with
Absolutely.
the clients that you have to entertain.
That's right. And then at dinner, it's there's two options I go. It's either fish or I go baby petite fillet
Yeah.
and kind of go that route and
Right.
not overdo it. So
Right.
that's generally what I've been trying to do on the road. And, inevitably this topic does come up too is, what about alcohol? What about the
Alcohol, of
wine at the
course.
table, that type of thing? And you just be moderate, right? It's one of those
Right.
things that, it's okay to have a glass of wine at dinner, but you don't need four glasses of wine. You don't need three
Of
glasses
course.
of wine. So
Right.
it's,
Right. And you're making a better choice with what you're eating. Therefore, the calories already buffered in to be able
yes,
to enjoy wine or beer in a sense. And let's be honest, you and a lot of people that are listening in have traveled so many times and done the fine dining experience that it's nothing new. You've been there, you've done that, just has a different name on the door that you walk through to come in. What are
yeah,
they
you're not
serving?
wrong.
A nice
You're not
steak,
wrong.
vegetables. Let's just stick with that. So then you're not walking out with 1,500 calories of food in your
Yeah,
belly and then you're off. Yeah. So, and it makes sense. And you can even have repeatable meals and even the way you order. That's something, if you're listening, you're looking for a hack. Here's the hack: is a protein double vegetable and order like you've ordered it 1,000 times
yeah,
because the cool thing in most parts, you're not paying for it anyway. So you can get whatever you want
that's
in a
right.
sense within reason, but yeah,
Yeah.
within a sense. So
Well, the other thing too is if anybody else is traveling, if you don't carry a water bottle to just fill up at those refilling stations in the airport,
right.
that's a big miss. That's an easy win to go do,
Oh yeah.
and just stay on track with the water consumption. And then to your
Hmm.
point, it also keeps you full. You
Yep.
know, may have to go, may have to hit the restroom on the plane at some point, but that's a good trade off. With just
Right.
staying hydrated and that sort of thing.
Right. 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 Yeah, hydration, guys. Listen, 100 ounces or more. Do we need to go over a gallon if you're like sweating a lot? Then maybe, or it's you're in a hot environment. You're down southwest and it's dry. You probably do need more in that situation, but you can manage it in a sense so that you don't have to spend all day in the bathroom. But most people, most guys don't drink enough, and then they confuse that hunger thirst signal and they eat instead of drink, and you just put calories in your body when you actually
Absolutely.
just needed water. Now, what were some of the things that you did before that you've done trying to manage your weight?
Oh, like, and just in terms of past,
Yeah,
uh,
past
yeah,
diets
yeah.
and quotations or programs.
I mean, as far as like, probably in my 20s, it was a combination of running and meathead weightlifting. So I just stayed in shape, and
Yeah,
I didn't have to worry about
right.
um, my fitness as much back then. It just you're still young and everything else. Um, but along the way, I've done a number of different things. Like I was a guy that would sign up for a race of some kind to put it on the
Okay.
calendar, and it would
Yeah.
let me train for it. So I've done a Tough Mudder in the past. I was also pretty active in boxing for a long time, and so that's a huge calorie burn, and that
Oh yeah.
usually kept me in pretty good shape. And then there's probably a bunch of you on the call or on this out in the audience that did P90X at one time or another.
Oh, good old Tony
Yeah,
Horton.
yeah. So
Yes, definitely.
I had my stint with good old Tony, and you
Yeah,
know
he did a
did
good
a
job.
did a few of those. Yeah, I mean, I stayed in shape and was able to do a ton of pull ups. You
Yeah.
know, um, but something about watching a video every time you wanted to work out was not something that.
Yeah, the
Uh,
play button became the biggest challenge for a lot of people. Hit that
that's
play
right.
button, or secondly, it was hearing the redundancy of his jokes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
They're
wore out after a while.
That's it, man. You could memorize the entire
Uh,
routine. So,
yeah,
but
yeah, they were
yeah,
great. Tony's a an all star in my
yeah.
book for what the amount of impact that he's had with people and helping people. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, what were some of the motivations to reach some of these improved health goals for you?
Yeah, there's a few, and not to go morbid, but Brian, like in my industry, like recently, I've seen a rash of obituaries on LinkedIn on
Uh,
guys that are in sales or in tech
right.
that are roughly my age,
Stress and
and it's something that, as I'm reaching the big 5-0, that
Right.
I want to preserve the the years that I have
Quality and length.
quality. And it's something that I want to be able-bodied if one day I'm a grandparent and,
Yeah.
I'm able to go
It's
do all.
likely with 3 kids. It's
Yeah.
definitely likely, right?
And be active and be
Right.
healthy and not go on meds for any reason. And one other
Right.
one other um one other component too is I had gone to an annual physical, and my doctor had said, "You are on the cusp of hypertension, and we can address this in a few different ways. We can go down
Right.
the pharma route, or you can go fix this." And it was something that stood with me. I don't want to go on pills for any, blood
If you go
pressure.
on one, people, you might be likely to go on more. That's
Yeah.
just the generalization of how it happens.
And so it was more or less of just, I don't have like a goal around completing a sporting or race related event or competing on stage or doing anything else. It's mainly quality of life.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. So you can do fun things at the very least.
Exactly. Be able to move with no pain and be able to, if I'm going to go on vacation and
Hmm.
walk 40,000 steps and
Yeah.
see a city, I want to be able to physically do that, not
Uh-huh.
feel like you're
Yep.
tired after the first 3 hours.
We did a 2-week European cruise and a stint in Paris last year. Literally, this time we would have been probably in Paris at this point, but the cruise, then 6 days in Paris, and I averaged for those 2 weeks 22,000 steps a day. I was just full go the whole
Yeah.
time, and I didn't miss anything. And the amount of walking that we did over Paris, oh my gosh, we would go from we were at the Pantheon, and then we'd walk to Notre Dame or Maman to Eiffel Tower. We made our way to Eiffel Tower every single night, the 3 nights that we were there, and then we'd walk back, and it's just thousands and thousands of steps at all hours of the day. So
Need a
you got to keep up.
shoe budget in the family to
Oh
replace all.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. For us, it's a Croc budget with those
Yeah,
kids. They love their
there you
Crocs. So, funny side note: I ran my first 5K with my third son Maxwell Saturday, impromptu. The older two ended up running and racing. Lee Everett beat Levi, so the second beat the first by 11 seconds,
go.
and
Oh,
then Maxwell all of a sudden he says, "I want to do it." And so he and I ran together, and he raced his first 5K. It was just pretty cool. But he did it in Crocs. That's why I was bringing up the story. He just had
there you
Crocs on. He's like, "Let's go." It's just so funny. Oh man, what's one thing that made this different? Obviously, you are a obviously an intelligent. You could get things done. You are on the high end of agency is a good word of getting things done. So why what was it one thing that stood out or made it easier that was different for you to be more successful and carry this well
yeah.
beyond our work together?
Well, I think you know this, Brian, but there's two colleagues I work with that are
Yep.
clients of yours, and
Yep.
we started talking about general things in life that happen to people in our demographic, right?
Right.
You're in your 40s and 50s, you're working, you're
Right.
carrying a full load, and this topic came up, and um, just listening to the one guy talk through the playbook and what he's been able to do, and
Yeah.
how mentally this program approaches it, like that's been kind of the, we just touched on it, but it was one of those things where I didn't feel like it was this rigid, I have to do these 19 things every single day, and then you don't get the instant gratification of results right out of the reps. That's going to come in weeks or months. And that's where a lot of people fall off, is this constant tracking, and feels like you're putting more in than you're getting out. Um, I like that it was simple,
Yeah.
just simple.
Just so you know, Ryan is the gentleman he's talking about. It's episode 86. So you can go listen to him how he lost 45 pounds. have two kids that are 5 and less. He travels a lot too. He's in the tech industry, and he really struggled for years to get off the yo-yo thing. And then we finally were able to get him down and keep him down. So if you want to listen in, it's 86. Talk about Ryan. All
Nice.
right. Now wrapping this up, take us home here. What is, if you were to talk to someone listening in, maybe a prior version of yourself or before you met those two guys that day and talked, what would you tell your younger self or someone else on here that is in a similar position? I sure you take care of yourself, and yeah, health is
Yeah,
important, but it's just slowly declining in a sense, or the waistline is slowly expanding.
sure. Brian, I think it stems. I'll speak on my behalf first, and then
Of
I'll
course.
maybe address the audience here. For me, I know that in life, in any given time, I have room for a few big rocks. And I always
Right.
thought that health and fitness had to be like this giant big rock, and it doesn't. It's something that you don't have to say, I got to make room for this to start. And I'm not quite there yet. Maybe next month
Right.
after this is over or that's over, I can really focus in on what I'm supposed to go do. And the reality is there's not a right time for
There's
anything.
never all the time I've done this. And hey, guess what? Go watch the 3 episodes on Netflix on The Biggest Loser and see how their bubble like environment of them going to the ranch and working out all the time outside of their everyday life. Check in and see how it worked out for them years later.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
didn't. They
And
gained more
Brian,
weight back.
if you recall, like in our first 7 days, like out of the 100, you kind of texted me on the side, like, you're ever going to give me any food that you're eating and report back and, check in on this piece. And
Right.
partly I was in a place where I'm like, I don't have the time right now to make this a big rock and like fully, immerse myself to where like, hey, I'm here, I'm going to do the full 100 days. I was really, really busy at the time when
Yeah,
we
you're
started.
traveling and
Yeah,
yeah,
my first month or so, I think I had 3 or 4 trips, like, stacked, and that was one of
yeah,
the things, like, "Okay, this is gonna be a challenge for me,
yeah.
and how am I gonna kinda recalibrate and make sure that I'm staying in control during these trips?" And what I ended up realizing is that I wasn't that far off to begin with. It
Right.
was just more being acutely aware of, "Okay, do this, don't do that." It's
Right.
not that I can't do or I have to do complete denial. And that's again, I think kind of the theme I've been talking about is,
Right.
you know,
Not all in, but middle gear mentality.
this denial concept
Yeah.
but I guess for the folks out there, if you feel like you need to wait to start because of some life circumstances, or I got this going, or I got that going, um, chances are if you get started, you're gonna be better off than waiting for the exact right time, because life
Yeah.
throws curveballs pretty much every
Always.
day, and you don't always have this blank canvas to start your picture with. You
Yep.
have to kind of pick up a partial and figure out, how do I, take this
Mhm.
and make it into what I want it to be. And so
Exactly.
I would say that there's never a right time. um, if you're in it for like instant results, I mean, this is a good way to get a boost and to get kind of acclimatized and
Of
get locked
course.
in.
Yep.
But the bigger thing is like just the sticky habits, the things that just survive a program, such as like, when do I go to bed, how much water am I drinking every day, and
Mhm.
am I moving enough to
Right.
create a deficit or maintain where I'm at. And so it's just knowing, like, it's the things everybody already knows, but just being deliberate about it.
Yeah, I can't tell you. You saw it. Literally everyone in the group knows what to do. They're just not doing it. And
Yeah,
that's where Brian comes into play really well. Okay, let's figure out how to actually do it in a way that
yeah,
works for you.
absolutely. And then I also find value in the community,
Yeah.
the
The
the team that
brotherhood
you
and
built,
yeah.
and the brotherhood. There's people at different stages with different goals, with different life circumstances, and the you get inspired by others that are just putting in the work and doing some really cool things. Brian, I'll say this, like in the last
Yeah.
100 days, what have I done? I've had ice cream at least once. I've had, wine and whiskey. I've had pizza, so it's all the things that like, you know, folks think that they're going to just cut out completely and I got to go eat kale salads every day. That was not my experience.
Right. No, we did. I would have asked you, do you enjoy kale? And if you said yes, then oh, okay, cool. But if you said no, why are you doing that? Episode 53, Andy, he lost 38 pounds in the group and he barely ate any vegetables at all. I just could not figure out a way to make it happen. And which is fine. And he'll tell you how he managed to stay full in a calorie deficit while walking. And that was a huge impact for him to just start moving more. And
Yeah.
it works for him. And he was so happy because he was able to accomplish something that had been wearing on him for years.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no good time to start. And then I guess one other thing too is like, this, I routinely weight train.
Yep.
One thing I did pick up though was in the middle of my sets, like I have this little small section of my basement where I do all my stuff. But then in between sets, instead of scrolling on my phone, I'm just doing laps in my basement, just adding,
More steps.
couple thousand
It all
steps just
it all
while
adds
waiting
up,
your time.
man.
It does. And so
Uh-huh.
it was
I'm
just
gonna
a
take
additional boost.
us on a journey here real quick. I'm in my barn where I work out at, but you can't really tell here. But this is my driveway. The lighting is off. But man, the amount of times I've been up and down the driveway is insane over the last 10 years I've been here. I mean, if I could wear a path in my concrete driveway, I would have, because I've just been up and down it so much, walking and talking to people. So it
Yeah.
all adds up.
It does. Yeah, and if somebody had a camera and was looking into my basement windows and they saw
I
me
think you're
walking
crazy.
around, yeah, exactly. But part of it,
I'm just glad I don't live in a suburb because oh my gosh,
get the
that would be
same look.
bad. People would think I was crazy. Like this guy's always walking, he's talking to himself,
Yeah, yeah,
and he's really
exactly.
animated. He throws his arms around all the time. He's crazy.
Yeah, it's imaginary
Oh
friends are
man,
having
yeah,
conversations with.
exactly. Oh, well, thanks so much for coming on here, Chris, to help inspire, motivate other people that are seemingly stuck in some capacity of improving their health, their fitness, their nutrition. And that's a huge part of it. It's very simple process that we went through, but it's just not easy. And everyone's life throws those curveballs, as we had been talking about in the day to day life, that makes it hard to swing and hit the ball. But we're not trying to swing for the fences with the all or nothing type approach. We're looking for a middle gear mentality. All I need you to do is hit a single, get on base. And then if we can do that every single day, we're going to drive in runs and we're going to
Yeah,
make real progress for real life situations, no matter what it is. It's really hard at this point in my career for someone to throw a curveball at me that I haven't already experienced. And it's like,
yeah,
hey, you're a unique person, but your situation is not unique to me. So let's step up to the plate. Let's swing for the ball and get on first base and keep driving in the run. So
do you
I
mind if
want to
I?
thank. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you mind if I throw in a quick plug for you
Yeah.
and those that
Oh,
may not
appreciate it. Yeah.
those that may not be familiar with coaching and how this all works.
Yeah.
Um,
Please.
so what I'll say, to the audience, anybody listening out there, what I really appreciated about you, Brian, is like you didn't approach this in a one size fits all type of way. You're, very human centric. So you get to know people and
Yeah.
what their circumstances are, what makes them tick, what their goals and motivations are. And just that human psychology element of what you're doing, I feel like is also a benefit to this program where it's not this I go to a class, here's what you do, then you go back and then you're kind of left to yourself. It's more of I'm in this with you. This is a process. This is a journey. This is not a scale driven exercise. This is more of a habits and wellness
Yeah.
type of, playbook. So, um, for those that have never worked with a coach, Brian has been amazing. I really appreciate how even myself, like I wasn't hitting on all cylinders right out of the gate. I was just trying to get started and get my head right with, okay, I'm doing this now. And then, I had a bunch of travel, and then we had some stuff going on in the family. And so while I'm doing my work, I didn't feel like Brian was overly, aggressive about like, hey, this is where you're falling short on accountability. It was more of a, I think he's doing okay. I think he's doing good, and the numbers are there, and the results are there, and he's showing up to the Wednesday calls and
Yeah.
everything else. But it the approach that you took with me is what I needed.
Yeah, definitely. I have I feel like I've done a good job with doing that throughout the course of my career. Is I don't define success, you define it, and I help you figure that out. And that's been the playbook that I have to then create a lot of success for a lot of different people and find different ways to interact, engage, tell story, create analogy, inform, educate, infotate or whatever, like all those
Yeah.
things. Or even we had a fun challenge, right? You threw out the baseball cap challenge, and that week I think we lost about 20 pounds in the group
Hey,
because people were on fire and motivated
right.
to do it.
That's right. And
So
I'll say this, like it really, really feels good to just old fashioned work to
yeah,
get here, right? I mean, there's
yeah,
a buddy of mine is really talking about peptides, and he doesn't have kind of the foundational elements
right,
to do that. So it's like,
right.
I feel like good old fashioned work is a flex,
A huge
and
flex,
there's a lot of
especially in our
choices out
time.
there. There's a lot of options
Mhm.
out there, but as
Right.
far as feeling good and knowing that you did something about the current state and the circumstances
Yep.
is also a driving factor.
Let's just pull out the lottery on this. How many lottery winners that get instant access to results or wealth or whatever, and then they don't have it long term? And that is something that we have yet to see in the GLP-1 phase and the peptide phase. Is a lot of people are going to take them looking for any sort of solution, from a shortcut to vanity to I want to be actually really healthy. Okay, cool. But if you don't have the skill sets or the understanding on how to manage money or create wealth or create money, then you're gonna be challenged in maintaining the income of money that you get from the lottery. And same thing with, oh, I lost 30 pounds. Well, how many other diets or routines or pills or whatever that have caused that? But we're still in a dire situation in our nation and even in the world of chronic obesity, illness, and just not living a fulfilling life because you're overweight, out of shape, ill.
Yeah, totally agree.
So
Totally agree. Yeah.
get the skills, people. If you have the skills, then you can do a lot with them and a
Yeah.
lot of different things and scenarios and situations.
Well,
So
good thing for you, Brian, is that you have a ton of content out there that
yes.
covers a lot of these topics, a lot of the what ifs, and
Yep.
the I'm going to go do it this way. And I'll be the first one to say that putting in the work and going old fashioned is the way to go.
Totally. Totally. As appealing as it would be to win the lottery, I think I'm still gonna opt to, how about I figure out how to make $1 million instead of just have it show up in my bank account. It'll be
That'd be
more
nice, though.
rewarding. It would be nice. It'd be helpful. But also, I don't know, my life in my whatever, that doesn't go very far. I can't retire
Yeah,
on that
right.
much money. So,
Yeah,
goodness, I
exactly.
digress. So, well, thank you, Chris, so much for
Welcome.
joining us, sharing your story, and help inspiring others. If you want to take action, you've been inspired by this or others in that I shared a number of different episodes you can listen in on throughout the Driven for Health podcast series. But jump in, thecall2rise.com. It's a 100-day fat loss challenge. You're going to have me as your lead. There's other guys that are in there that are in the thick of it with you, pushing and motivating, inspiring each other to dig deeper and get the skills and get the knowledge and all the things that you need to be long-term successful. And that's what we're here for, not only to lose the weight, but to keep it off in your day-to-day life. So that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for coming. Over and out.